Hey there, it is Small Business Month. Small Business Month, but big impact. We have a new cover reveal. Celeste Warren today. She's going to be talking about the truth about equity. That's her book, but we'll also be talking about her TEDx talk that she just completed, the cost of standing still. And she's going to be a little bit about the journey about what it took to really deliver that talk. So we're going to bring her up right after this.
Are you ready to elevate your speaking career and be a part of a movement that amplifies Black voices? Speakers Magazine is your go-to resource, highlighting top speakers, industry insights, and strategies to take your platform to the next level. Subscribe today and unlock the blueprint for speaker success. Visit www.speakersmagazine.com, the #1 magazine for Black speakers. Subscribe now and start your journey to success. Amplify your voice. Subscribe today.
Hey there, hey there. Hey, Celeste. Welcome to Speakers Magazine show. You are on the cover for May, perfect for Small Business Month. So I want people to really understand a little bit about your background because you had an incredible corporate career at Merck. And give us what you did at Merck and then give us some, I guess you would say, some defining moments that kind of shaped your leadership journey, because we're going to talk about leadership and business and where you are now.
Well, Pam, first of all, thank you for the invitation. And it has just been a pleasure getting to know you as well. She's my new best friend, y'all.
Yes. And she's going to be part of Speak Sell Shine coming up in DC.
Yes,
For those in the DMV, you're going to get to hear her there too as well, live in person.
I cannot wait. Well, I had, as you said, almost a 3-decade career at Merck.
Started at 4.
Yeah. Yes. And I enjoyed my journey. It was a wonderful journey. Started out there as a HR business partner and then rose through the ranks. I would say, one of my defining moments in my career was when I met with Ken Frazier, who was the CEO at the time, 11 years ago. And we had a conversation about the role of the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. And it was so funny because this was a role that I didn't really want to do, because one thing, I was in a role, I was the head of HR, I was the vice president in the C-suite in the various different areas that I supported. And I was able to make an influence and really do some things there around inclusion, around equity. And so for me, whenever I was asked to think about taking on this role, it was like, well, this is a global role. My span of influence would be larger, and would people embrace it the way that I've embraced it, in the way that it's just part of me? And so I was really just concerned about that. And then the second thing was, the cliche, the Black woman who's in charge of diversity, equity, inclusion.
They always have a Black person in charge of diversity, DEI. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, that's just so cliche. And so I was talking with my then boss at the time, the CHRO, and she kept saying, well, we really want you to take this role. We think you would be perfect for it. We're just, we want to do more in this area. And I kept saying, well, who's we? And she said, well, Ken and I. And I thought, and she said, and Ken wants to talk to you as well about it. And I thought, well, here's my way out, because Ken's a busy man. I can, he won't be able to see me for probably another month or so. So I can just weasel my way out of it by that time. And I said, sure, I'll talk to Ken. No issue. She grabbed my hand, walked me over to his office that moment.
Oh and my God. So they were really like, this is the person. Just to give people context, how big is Merck? How many employees? Or what? I know it's a Fortune 500 company, but how many, when you say global, you were in charge of?
Yes, we had about 75,000 employees globally in about 110, 120 different countries.
Wow. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. So where did you go to school? What prepared you for the position at Merck? What was the trail, I guess you would say? Were you always interested in HR? Were you always interested in business? What was the spark?
Well, actually, I wasn't. My first career, I was a reporter.
Okay.
And I was down in Lexington, Kentucky, where I went to school undergraduate. And that's something that I wanted to be like throughout high school, even junior high and college. And so I was very pigeonholed. I wanted to be a reporter. So I was a reporter for about 3 or 4 years. And I got tired of writing home to my mother and father and saying, can you send me some money? Because I couldn't, just 10% of the people in the industry are making 90% of the money, and the other 90% are making the other 10%.
Yeah, people don't realize that it is a big sacrifice. It's like someone who wants to really be like an actor. You'll see the stars making the money, but everybody else is not making that money yet. So yeah,
that's it. And so I just decided, you know what, I got to do something else. And for me, I was working at a radio station, and I thought, well, when I get into TV, I'm going to be making so much more money. And so I got an interview at the ABC television affiliate down in Lexington and interviewed for the role, got it. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm on my way. I get the contract for the salary, and it was just a few $100s more than what I was making as a radio reporter. I was so deflated. I was like
it's like, okay, this is it.
Mid-career crisis. And that's what I said. I said, this is it. So I was trying to get different roles outside of reporting and just couldn't really make that leap. And so my older sister, who was living back at home I live in Western Pennsylvania, she was living in Pittsburgh, and she said, well, why don't you just go and get your master's? And I was like, oh, I guess I could. And she said, well, come to Carnegie Mellon University. My mother talked me into coming back home.
Good school.
Anyway. And so I went to Carnegie Mellon University, and the counselor there said, have you thought about human resources? And I was like, human resources? Because in my head, the image that I had was this, this woman in some office handing out applications. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And she said, no, it's a lot more than that. It's talent management, it's talent acquisition, it's compensation and benefits, learning and development. There's so much organizational design and development. And so she introduced me to the field. And I interned between my first and second year of grad school at General Foods in White Plains, New York. And they hired me during my last year of grad school, and I went to work there actually. I was stationed at their White Plains, New York office, and it fit like hand to glove. And the rest, as they say, is history. I was at General Foods, then Kraft Foods, and then Merck came calling.
Wow, that is so cool. I had no idea. That's how that happened. That is really, really good. So yeah, I think that because I always say God doesn't waste anything, but because of you wanting to be a reporter, being curious, interested in people, the psyche, what makes people tick, and that whole part about learning and development, you probably have a little bit of a teaching skill in you, and that part of it, and that's where you could transfer those skills and then add it on top of businesses, Carnegie Mellon, and like you said, the rest is history. So at Merck, you were there, you were the DEI. Let's talk what inspired you, really the transition from the corporate boardroom to becoming a speaker, what they call a thought leader, because you're really a thought leader. This is book number 3?
2.
Book number 2. Okay, thought leaders produce a lot of books. You're probably working on your next one. And now the TEDx speaker, because that one is the cost of standing still. So what kind of made you make the leap? Because there's a lot of people listening today and watching that are in corporate jobs. They've been in there. They're comfortable in the C-suite. They've been there for decades. People love what they're doing, but they don't know how to make the jump to consulting, coaching, speaking, that kind of thing. So what inspires you to make that transition?
Well, it's interesting. I had been in the role about 6 years or so, and I knew that this was what I wanted to do. This was more than a job for me. It was more of a calling and a passion and a purpose. And so I started thinking about, okay, what do I want to do for my next chapter, my career post Merck? And I knew that I wanted to stay in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. And so I thought, okay, Do I want to do consulting? What do I want to do? And around that time, I was approached to write my first book. And I thought, okay, well, write the book and see what happens from there. Wrote that book, and I liked the being able to get my voice out there.
What was the name of that one,
That
Celeste?
was How to Be a Diversity and Inclusion Ambassador.
Okay. And this was around before or after 2020?
It was after. I started writing it in 2021 early, and then it was published in 2022.
So the whole DEI, just so that people will realize too, is always been there, but it really took off a lot after 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, which is 6 years this year, this May. And so a lot of companies really poured in a lot of money to DEI right after that. And a lot of people got certified as DEI experts, like surprisingly, like they are like AI agents. They're being certified for that. So kind of give us a little bit. So someone approached you and said, hey, write this book. The book came out. And then what happened after that?
And then after that, I realized that in order for me to grow in this space, I needed to think about my life post-Merck. And I needed to be able to expand my wings. You know, I had a lot of autonomy at Merck. I mean, a lot more so than chief diversity officers in other companies. Even back then, you know, when diversity and inclusion was, you know, some companies were expanding, I had a lot of autonomy. I had really developed a strong relationship with our senior leaders. They trusted me. And so, but I wanted to be able to spread my wings even further. And I'm the type of person where, you know, I'm not someone who works well under a micromanager. Not that I had one, but I'm just someone who, if I have autonomy, I can really just expand.
Be more innovative.
Yeah. And so I knew that I wanted to do something beyond post-Merck. And so that's when I started really thinking about it. I knew that my horizon was going to be sometime over the next few years. And so I thought, you know, let me get to my 10-year mark in this role. Because even at that point, you have some oomph. You know, you've been in the role. You know, a lot of people, the average tenure, my last year in the role, the average tenure for a chief diversity officer in a Fortune 1000 company was literally less than 3 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing? They were just going
kind of like they're kind of like a rotating musical chairs there.
Yes, exactly. And so having 10 years in the role with the company and you know, through the ebbs and flows, because that was a very volatile time, those 10 years. So Trayvon Martin, Me Too, xenophobia, the pandemic, George Floyd, and then the sort of pendulum starting to swing into more of the conservative stance. And so it was a very volatile time, but it was a time of growth for me and opportunity for me to really just have the experiences that I really needed to be able to consult, to be able to spread my wings and hang up my shingle, as they say, and take on this role. So I actually got my LLC in place about 3 years ahead of knowing that I wanted to do it. I wanted to get all the legal aspects of it out of the way. So when I decided that I did want to do that, I had all of that in place. And so even though I wasn't acting on it, I still had the legal LLC in place, the name, all of that in place. And then really, once I took that leap and I retired from Merck, and I was ready to jump right into it day one, right after I retired. And we launched the book, the second book, at that point as well. So everything I made sure that the timing was such that we were launching the book, we were launching the consulting firm, and the speaking experience as well.
I like that. So we're going to do another interview about the book directly, but this is so good. The book, it says the truth about equity. Equity isn't a dirty word. It's a powerful one. And the truth about equity, what it really is, what it isn't, and why everyone should get it right. And really, this one talks about how you're pulling back the curtain on one of the most misunderstood concepts in today's workplace and society. So it's really one of the things that a lot of people need it. It's really for those, this book is for leaders, allies, everyday people who want to move past the defensiveness and towards really a shared success about what it really is. So this book we're going to talk about on the 20th, a whole interview. So we'll put the link down there with that. But you talk about the speaking And so most people don't come out and say, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to start my consulting company. I'm going to be a speaker. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to do a TEDx talk. So your TEDx talk is going to be dropping soon. It's called The Cost of Standing Still. So give us a little bit of journey of how it came about and what inspired that message and why you believe it's so timely right now.
Yes, I had been speaking for years in the corporate setting. And then when I became the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, I started speaking in conferences and things like that as well.
Yeah.
And so I had that experience under my belt. But so my bucket list, one of the things on my bucket list was to do a TED Talk. And so what I did was when I started the consulting firm, I Googled, how do you do a TED Talk? Because I had no clue. I didn't know what you were supposed to do, how you were supposed to do it. And I just Googled it, and it said, okay, here's what you can do. Here's a lot of TEDx talks that are taking place. Here's where they're taking place. And it was this long list, across the globe. And I was like, okay, US. And then there was this long list of US. And I said, okay,
this is a reporter in you, Celeste. This is a reporter in you, right? You're trying to find the story. Like, okay, well, where's this going?
That's exactly it. And so I just started applying one by one for different TEDx conferences. And I got the call, the email. It was like around the first week of February, end of January, first week of February. No. It was January. It was January of this year. And it said, congratulations, we've chosen you as a speaker for TEDx Talk. And it was, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then it had all of these different things. And by the way, the event is March 7th. And I was like, March 7th, like 8 weeks away, less than 8 weeks away. So I started getting nervous and everything because they were supposed to assign a coach to you. I didn't know that. And then, so I just got to work again, Googling, send me links of TEDx talks and this and that. Plus I had to go back and, because I had applied for so many, and each of these different conferences have different themes that you have to link to. So I was kind of like, let me go back and find out this one, what did the theme
what the theme was.
Yeah. And what I wrote and what I said I was going to talk about and all of this. Went back, found that, and then was like, okay, now I got to create it. And so when I went on YouTube and again, researching how do you do TED Talks? What's the best way to do it? Are you allowed slides? All of this stuff. Everything that I had researched had said, you have to know this talk. You have to memorize it. You have to know it. Yeah. And then it depended on the venue as to whether you're allowed to use slides or not. And even if you are allowed to use slides, the best TED Talks use slides that's just, visual pictures, optimize what you're saying. You don't use it and have all these words on it like you're doing a corporate
teaching.
Yeah, exactly. Or a university or something. And so that's what I Googled and I got to work. And I was just like, okay, yay, I got in. Oh, okay, it's in 7 weeks. And how do I do this? How do I go about doing this? And so, all of that experience of speaking in different forums and different conferences and different audiences over the years, it might as well have been thrown out the window because I was like freaking out. I was
spoken at some large conferences like the Philadelphia Women's Conference and things like that.
Conference for Women.
Pennsylvania Conference for Women. Yes, thousands. So, but it's different when you do a short little 10 to 12 minute talk. That the cost of standing still, and they have a lot of rules. They have a lot of rules because it's like it's a brand. It's their system that you want to plug and play into. And so that will be coming out soon. But the cost of standing still, tell us a little bit of brief about what that is about.
Well, basically, the theme of the conference was momentum.
Oh, okay.
And so I talked about how in the cost of standing still and then tying it to the importance of equity, equitable and fair practices, what I did was I talked about how you can't just expect organizations, universities, society to change when you just try to change the people. You have to look at the infrastructure. You have to look at the systems and the systemic issues to really get at creating and nurturing fair and equitable practices in an organization, in a education system, in society. And so what I talked about was that you can't stand still in a system that may not have been made for you and is literally standing still. Because if you're standing still in a system that's standing still, then it comes at a very high cost. And so I talk about that in this TED Talk.
I like that. I like that. Was there a personal story or experience that became like the emotional heartbeat of your TEDx presentation? Because that's really the main thing that that's what makes it go viral, right?
Yeah.
So what is the heartbeat of?
Well, I talked, you don't have time to do a long story, but
Right.
there are two things. There's a story that I talk about in the book that really just kind of hit home for me. But then in the TED Talk, I sort of threw it out so people could relate to say, have you ever been trying for a promotion or a special assignment or an elevation of some sort and you don't get it? And it's not because you weren't smart enough or intelligent enough or have the experience. It was something else and you just didn't know what it was. And so then that's when I start, talking about how systems have to change. And so it was that sort of connection because everybody has gotten that rejection letter from a job that they wanted or a promotion that they didn't get or an assignment that they didn't get. So those were the things that I kind of talked about to connect the audience right away.
Good.
And then, but personally, besides those experiences, when I was leaving grad school, leaving the reporting role, and I was going into grad school, because I have my major was television journalism in undergrad, and so going into grad school, especially a institution like Carnegie Mellon, there were I didn't take economics and different things like that, and so I went to a summer program right before entering, so I could take microeconomics, statistics, all different things that I just did. It wasn't needed for the major that I had in undergraduate. So spent my summer in this with about 60 or so others. And the program at that time was, it was to try to get more students of color into their public affairs program, the School of Urban and Public Affairs, which is the Hines School now. And so I was there with a lot of other individuals that were coming into the program that were in the same situation that I was. A majority of them happened to be people of color. And so when school started, we had developed a camaraderie because we'd spent the whole summer together. Yeah. And so when school started, we were, hanging out together and everything. And one student who didn't go through the program asked me when, well, how do you all know each other? You guys seem to have really clicked so early. And it was like the first week of the fall classes and semester. And I told them that we went to this program. So we've kind of been together all summer. And he was kind of like, well, I didn't get invited to that program. How come I didn't get invited to that program? And that's not fair. And why were you invited? And the thing that he didn't understand is that the reason why we went to that program was because we didn't have the courses that he had already and had already taken. And so it was about putting us on, on the same playing field so we could be prepared when the classes started in the fall. And it kind of hit me like, wow, he thinks that we got preferential treatment over him when we were sitting in some hot dorms, no air conditioning, studying
statistics.
And he was out on a beach, hanging out all summer, having fun before he started grad school. So it just kind of blew my mind that someone would feel like we got preferential treatment when all we were trying to do was make sure that we were on the same footing and as our peers when we came in the school in the fall semester. So that was the sort of a moment that really sticks with me when it comes to people truly understanding what equity is.
That is so true. I remember U of M has a program for a lot of kids that are Detroit public schools. So they go to Detroit public schools and they get accepted to U of M on the condition that the summer before that they go to this particular program to make sure that their first semester that they are not shocked about all the things that they had to learn that maybe DPS did not teach the other suburban schools that that had this information already. So it was the summer where they had the other kids were probably, like you said, on the beach, but they were getting prepared at this postgraduate, post high school program so that they can. They were probably doing science classes, STEM kind of math, whatever, to make sure, even though they were accepted in the school, it was just something just to make sure that they were all on the same footing. So I understand that completely. That is what equity is, because they could not have, if they went to a system through a school system that didn't teach that, how would they know it by the time they got to the college? There was a system that wasn't put in place for them to even learn it. So U of M created that system to say, hey, this is the program that you're going to go in. And I think my daughter did one too, SBI, Michigan State University. I think it was some kind of business school pre thing, and it was mostly for diverse kids. It was Indian, it was Black, it was just that kind of thing. So that is really, really important. I like the fact that you're bringing it so that people can understand everyone has that. And again, part of your background of doing all this all fits together. I love how that is. And so now you've written a book on around leadership is really like the main key, inclusion in business. But which chapter kind of like you kind of answered it a little bit feels the most personal to you in this particular book here? This is the one that, this is the one here.
It's that first chapter where I sort of tell my story and what was sort of one of the genesis. And then I forget which chapter it is, but I talk about my dad as well. My dad was the first Black teacher and first Black principal in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio. And so every day he would come home from school and we would be at the dinner table. I was one of 5 siblings. And my mom would ask him, how was your day? And he would then proceed to tell us about the challenges and the obstacles that he went through being the first. And I actually talk about him in my TED Talk as well.
That is.
I could see. So he would start talking about it, but he wouldn't just talk about like kind of what the challenges were. He would talk about what he did to overcome those challenges. And that stayed with me throughout my childhood, throughout my young adult time and my adulthood.
That is good. I didn't realize that your dad was a teacher and became a principal. So when I said you probably have a teaching gift, that's where the corporate training and the leadership training and that kind of thing, that's all part of what makes up Celeste Warren, right? This is all of those things as well. So we're going to go into the magazine in a few, but what advice would you give for someone who is successful in the C-suite? They want to become visible and influential outside of corporate America. Do they make the moves while they're 5 years before, 3 years before, or they make it simultaneously? How does someone really move from corporate C-suite or even just corporate and management or as a leader to owning their own consulting firm? What are some of the things that you would advise?
Yeah, you definitely need to be thinking about it a few years ahead of time and start to think about, okay, first of all, what do you want to be your niche? What do you want to be your passion or your purpose once you leave your role? And, is it, diversity, equity, inclusion? Is it, leadership management? Is it coaching? Is it, marketing? Whatever it might be, you need to determine what it is. And then LinkedIn is your friend.
Yes.
Make sure that you are, if you're not on LinkedIn, which I think almost everybody is as a professional, but if you're not, get on it. Start linking to people, getting people to listen to you and pay attention to you. But also, go out and use your voice to go to different conferences and different areas, different things, and speak inside your organization and outside your organization. Get involved in
the ERGs will be a good place.
Yes, employee resource groups, and because they all do, leader series, and so go and speak at those, and not just with the identity, the ERG of the identity that you are a part of, but also other ones. Go as an ally to other ERGs as well. And so, but get those speaking chops in order. Make sure that you can do it, and then once you do that, snap a couple pictures, put it on LinkedIn, because it's interesting. When I first got into the role, I was on LinkedIn, but I wasn't on like Instagram and Twitter and all of those other ones. And one of the leaders talked me into it and said, Celeste, you should get on. And number one, to find out what's going on in the world. And then secondly, what you want to do is just, what I started doing was whatever we were doing internally within the company from a DE&I perspective, I just started posting it on LinkedIn. And not for just kind of for the purposes of, letting people see Merck, the company, and what we're doing, because it's a good recruiting tool as well.
Yes.
And so that's all I was
almost doing. Yeah, it's like you're the ambassador for the company, and people will see that you are the ambassador for the company, and you're helping to lead the charge with that.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
that's
is
all
so
I was
important.
doing. And next thing I know, when I would go to an external conference or something, and I would say, "Hey, I'm speaking at," because they give you, all the marketing materials, and I would just put that on there. And then I'll never forget, I was at a dinner following a day conference, and they had invited a group of us as chief diversity officers in different companies. They had invited us to a dinner, and it was just a small group, about 20 of us. And we're out to dinner, and we're just talking and laughing with each other. And there was a woman who was sitting across the table, the next table, and she was talking to, at the time, it was Caroline Wanga. She was the CEO of Target at that time.
Oh, okay.
And so,
she went to
Caroline Essence. Yes, she was the CEO of Essence eventually, just left recently. And so, but I had met her when she was the CDO at Target. And so they were, we were all sitting there talking, and there was a woman that was across the way, and I saw her talking to the woman next to her. And what she was doing, it's very superficial, but what she was doing, she was going on LinkedIn and sort of going to the different people that were sitting around the table. And
I do that.
And she was looking, and then all of a sudden I heard her say and point to me, she's got 15,000 followers. I didn't know that. I didn't know what followers were. Like I said, I was just doing stuff on LinkedIn. And she and the woman that was next to her kind of looked at her like, you shouldn't have said that out loud. That was kind of cheeky. But that's when
she's a big deal. She's a big deal on LinkedIn, guys. She's a LinkedIn star.
I found out that I had that many followers. I did not know it until that moment.
And that's it. People should just really do the work, become the thought leader, share value is what you're saying. Share value so that people will understand that you are bringing something to the party. So that's one of the things. What surprised you most really about your TEDx experience, that people would never know? So when we do see it, what would they be most surprised about watching it?
I would say, first of all, I found out 3 or 4 days beforehand that I was opening it up. I was the first speaker. So they had a woman that they mixed it at this particular conference. They had a couple of performers. Like there was a woman that did a electric violin. She opened it up, and then I was the first speaker. And I thought, oh, this is great, because I was so nervous, because we had a full a rehearsal the day before. And you got to feel, you weren't allowed to practice your whole
but
speech,
just to get the feel of the
stage and everything. And so when I found out 3 days before that I was the first speaker, I was like, oh, thank God. Because then I got to just go through it, get it done,
Yeah.
and then enjoy the rest of the speakers the rest of the day. And for me, that was just wonderful. But it was an honor to be able to be the first speaker and set the tone. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I guess what people won't see is the nervousness. I was
Okay.
so nervous.
And you used to be
Leading
on
up to,
television as a reporter, so I can't. Oh my God! So this is going to be good. I can't
yeah.
wait for. I can't wait for it to drop. That's going to be the thing. And so, looking at what's next for Celeste Warren, what should we be watching for more in 2026? I know we've got the TEDx talk. We've got the book that people can get on Amazon. But what are some of the things that we have planned for 2026? They can go to CRW Diversity, and what will they find there when they go there?
Well, you'll find links to both the books. You'll find out kind of some of the things that I've been doing from the standpoint of speaking, some places where I've had articles published in Forbes and different places.
Oh, good.
Um, and then also I have a mini series, Equity in Action module for managers,
Oh,
which
I like that.
anybody can partake in to learn how to take equity from intention to action.
Mhm,
And it's a very
mhm.
pragmatic, it's five mini modules, if you will. 15 minutes is all it is. And you can take your time and go through them, and to help you to be a better, more intentional manager and leader within your respective organization. And so that's there as
That's
well. Um, and for me, I just want to keep living in my purpose. That's what I want to keep doing. I want to keep being able to spread the word, elevate voices of people who just don't feel empowered right now to be able to lift their own voices. And
mhm.
so that's kind of what I want to do. That's wherever I can, whatever platform, whatever place, I want to be able to talk about the truth about equity.
Mhm. And also too, you have a foundation. You wanna mention that too as well?
Yes, I have a nonprofit with my son and
Nonprofit. I keep
daughter.
calling it a
Yes.
foundation,
Oh,
don't
that's
I?
okay. That's okay. It's a
I'm making it
nonprofit.
a foundation, just like maybe that's the next phase for next year.
Yeah, exactly. It's called Destination STEM, and it's a nonprofit that was founded with my daughters, Christina, and my son, Stephen. And it's to get students of color and students in need interested in the STEM related fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
I love
And
that.
I love it because it just takes equity and diversity and inclusion into the next phase of high school and middle school and college age students to really help them to fill that gap that exists in the representation of people of color in the STEM fields.
I love that. And so you have the next generation, the legacy,
Yes.
really pushing that as well. That is so cool. That's really what it's about. Like what you said, you're walking in your purpose, and it's not just your purpose, but then also sharing it also with your legacy as well. So I love this cover. I love this pose, this power pose. Lead with impact, build stronger teams, create lasting change. That's really what Celeste is about. Again, May is Small Business Month. Uh, it is small business, big impact. Most companies are small businesses. That's what really is the heartbeat of America. So, what Celeste teaches is leadership strategies to scale your business and your influence. And then also within this magazine as well is an article from Brian Oles that talks about how to improve your speaking business. I will say really, really quick, um, Monet, if you can put this on a spotlight on me here. I'm sorry, I meant to talk about this. This is a book from one of the Speak Sell Shine graduates, Lynetta Houston. She just released this. It says, "Become the person people trust, follow and grow with, earn your influence." And really, she talks about speaking as a way of doing that. So even if you don't want to be like a platform speaker, and I'm speaking like 50 times a year, but how you can really earn your influence in whatever area you are by speaking. And she talks about how to really improve your speaking from tongue twisters and things like that. So that's I want to say that because one of the things that you can go back, Monet. One of the things that Celeste has an advantage that uh, that most leaders need to develop is that she came out of TV broadcasting. So having a good voice, understanding how to deliver a talk, a speech, that is really, really important. And that's one of the things that you people should join Black Speakers Network, because that is one of the key things about communications, of really knowing how to speak in the right tones, with the right body movements, all of those type of things. And still be yourself. But that's how leadership presence is really developed, or how people can judge your leadership presence, I guess you would say, from your writing and from your speaking, not just what you know in your head, but what you actually communicate. So I wanted to say that. And then Brian Olds, who's a president and the founder of Black Speakers Network, where we're broadcasting live, he talks about 3 ways to improve your speaking business. So this issue can kind of go through it really. Yep, there you go, Monet. Thank you. So they can go to blackspeakersnetwork.com and actually enjoy all of the videos that he has there on BSN as well. So the next page really talks about if you are a speaker and you're trying to get more speaking gigs, one of the places that you want to go is to go where meeting planners go. So when you go to Speaker Match, you can scan that code there and you can join Speaker Match. Get found by event planners, promote your expertise. If you have a TEDx talk, you want to put that in there, or videos and things like that, put in your newsletter. The more you, I guess you would say, trick your page out, the more activity you would get, and then people would actually find you and select you. And also too, they send out as well announcements of what's available. So just like Celeste had said that, she Googled and just tried to figure out where to apply for different types of talks. They will send you what's available, who they're looking for, their RFPs, requests for proposals from different speakers. So that's what you get from Speaker Match as well. This particular issue, also too, if you hover over that, Monet, you will see that there's videos in each one of the pages, I believe, if you kind of could see. So there's a video there that people can go and partake in as well. Again, this page really talks about, the next page, my publisher page, just really talks about the best speakers understand they are not simply delivering presentations, they are really solving problems. So you are a speaker, whether you're a keynote, a workshop, a podcast, a panel, you have to answer a business challenge. And that's really why we're speaking. That's one of the things. So this is the Small Business Month. We celebrate that and talk about that. And the main thing too is that, not everybody can do a TEDx talk, or not everybody wants to do a TEDx talk, but you have to keep speaking. And that's one of the things that Celeste talked about. If you're in corporate and you want to lead, you want to make the transition, you want to make sure that you are getting your voice heard. This person here, I want Celeste to kind of give a little bit of intro who Olivet Jones is and that's how we met. So you want to give a little bit of intro of who Olivet Jones is.
Oh, yes. I met her through someone in my church, actually. And he just said, you guys are 2 fabulous people and you need to come together. And
I love that.
So I met her last year virtually, and Olivet has her own thing going on, her own consulting and coaching firm. And she's had it for, oh gosh, I think it's a couple of decades at least, I'm pretty sure. And she just does a fabulous job in coaching leaders and helping them to find their authentic voice. And she has been just a wonderful connector and friend for me. Does an excellent job. Excellent job.
She is. She really is a good connector. I actually connected her with our cover from the month of April as well. Her and Troy James, who is an executive coach. That's what he does. So those two are actually talking with each other, and they may be doing something together as well. She focuses on women. He focuses more or less like on men. So they're thinking about doing some things together. But yeah, so Olivet Jones is in there. Be your own Shiro. If you can kind of see that in her background, that's like her thing is what she calls the women over 50, being your own Shiro. So she's faculty of the Joseph Business School. I don't know if you all know that. That's Bill Winston's church out of Chicago, but it's like his business school. It's the Joseph Business School, and she's one of the faculty there. And also she's lectured at the University of Chicago and University of Notre Dame. So yeah, so she's about it. She's a beast on what she is really passionate about. So I love that. I love that. The next one is Carl Brown. Carl Brown is always going to be at our Speak Sell Shine. He comes out of the DC area. He is actually the director of the DC Small Business Development Center at Howard University, but he also has a show, which you'll be on soon, that is on Sirius XM as well. It's called Small Business Report. And he's been doing that for probably at least a decade for sure, I know of. But he talks about speaking is storytelling, which Celeste, that's what you know best. That's kind of like what you were training in. So it's a natural part. Carl has a radio show, but he's really like a business. He's a director of the small business development, but he realized in order for companies, the founders, for their business to grow, they have to speak. And so he found himself really showing people how to speak, to tell their story as founders of these new companies. And so he talks about storytelling here. Dr. C.T. Laurie, I love her. Now, she's a different story. She's Small Business Month, but really she talks about Dr. C.T. Laurie is redefining confidence from the inside. She's actually a dentist. Okay. So when people say, well, I don't really want to be a speaker, everybody speaks. Okay. Mm-hmm. She speaks. So in order for her practice to grow as well, she speaks. So Dr. CT is talking about how the confidence starts on the inside. It doesn't matter what you do to your teeth, but it has to start on the inside. So she really talks about the whole person wellness, as well as like, obviously oral care is important, but she really gives a holistic view of a philosophy of how to really put your best foot forward. And so that's Dr. CT. She hails out of North Carolina. Yes.
One of the TED Talk speakers was a pediatric dentist from Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah. So yes, any field, any discipline, you can be a speaker.
Mm-hmm. That is so key. She just really likes to help patients improve their smiles, but helping them differently. It's really like she's known as a confidence architect. And you will find people who have really they're not feeling confident about their teeth or that kind of thing. She says it really starts on the inside. It doesn't really matter about the aesthetics on the outside. It starts on the inside. So she really has that whole philosophy, really passionate about it. And this particular picture was taken in Dallas. I will say that she was a part of an organization that I'm a part of called 100 Leaders of Tomorrow. And this is where this was taken. It was at a branding retreat that we just had in April. So that picture there is really, really good. And I will say, by the way, that she is a person that practices what she preaches. So she recently lost, she said, about 35 pounds. So this picture is brand new, no touch up and all that kind of stuff. That is her. So she lost a lot of weight, and she's really helping people find that, like she said, the confidence architect. That's what she's helping people with holistically, the whole person. And so the next is our center spread, which I love this. This is some snapshots from you being on the TEDx stage, TEDx McMaster University. Where is McMaster actually?
It's about 40 minutes from Toronto, Canada.
Okay. So okay. All right. So I did not know that. That is so cool. So I like the visuals that you had. They were a PowerPoint, but they weren't teaching, but you have some stairs there, obviously, on that background. And if you notice on the cover, we had those same stairs. So that's kind of like the background of what I saw there. But you're a leader, a voice of movement. And then you can scan that QR code and really learn more about how to get involved with CRW Diversity, how to book you to speak. But read this particular story about her background and that sort of thing, so you can kind of know a little bit more about Celeste. And the videos from today will be in there, and then your TEDx will be embedded in here too when we get that in there as well. The next person is Natalie Southwell. Again, she was a person as 100 Leaders of Tomorrow. She again took this picture there in Dallas, leading beyond limits with the essence of a woman. And so she came out of IT, corporate IT, and she has her own company. She's written books, children's books, that sort of thing. So really, the thing of it is that she really embodies the essence of women in leadership, helping them, nurturing them, being faith-filled, fierce, all of the things, teaching women how to lead. And that's really like her mission and her passion right now. And she has the children's books because obviously she wants to raise up young women as well. So the books are about eating well and having confidence, that kind of thing. So it seems like once people leave corporate, they have the training, but they get so creative when they come out and they can do the things. And that's what Natalie is doing right now. She has an upcoming book called Leading Beyond Limits, which really talks about how to be a strategic about your life, architecting the life that you want. And so anyway, so she's an executive coach as well. So I should probably introduce her as well to and I always tell people too, people who are in the magazine together is not by accident. I should probably introduce her to Olivette as well. Because she already knows Dr. CT. So yeah, so that will be good. Brian, the fearless leader of Black Speakers Network, 3 ways to improve your business. Speaking business, he talks about that, how to really, main thing, reevaluate your message, explore the mediums of delivery of your message, making sure that you develop your business acumen. That is really, really key. I think that's where people who are speakers are the most messiest. So I've got to get that management part down. Okay. It's like you got to get that part down. So he really goes into deep about that. But make sure that you go to blackspeakersnetwork.com and connect with Brian over there. They roughly have about 15,000 people that are connected to his organization. It's been 10 years, almost 10 years, because we're 9 years old. So he's about 10 years. Yeah. Yep. There we go. And then the next one is Maria Pearman. And she's helping women heal from the inside out. So she started out as a teacher. She was actually a teacher. And now she had a health challenge herself. And now she's really teaching people breast cancer. And now she's teaching people how to really heal themselves and pour back into themselves. She healed herself holistically from breast cancer, her testimony. And so now she has a book called 1 Minute Devotional Faith and Healing, really that talks about how women are seeking to heal their body, mind, and their spirit. That's like the foundational things that she talks about. She also has a YouTube series called Wellness Unplugged, help women move from burnout to balance. Okay. So you probably hear that a lot about burnout. And so, yeah, women, we need to take better care of ourselves. So Maria is kind of leading the charge on that. She knows firsthand on how to do that. And so she, again, was part of 100 Leaders of Tomorrow. Maria Pearman was. And
I love that photo too.
Isn't that a great photo? Oh my goodness. I was there actually seeing her get ready for that photo too, being prepped and the makeup and all that kind of stuff. So it was really cool seeing the transformations, not only the transformations of the ladies, seeing them, me seeing them, but them seeing themselves. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It was like, they were like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, that was you all the time. I knew it was in there. Dr. Colette, she's got this book, The Lioness. Now, Dr. Colette was in the last Speak Sell Shine, and she's just taken off. She's got a podcast series. It's on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. She's on LinkedIn Live all the time. She's got these books. She came out of corporate and she was actually director of operations for Don King out in Vegas. She did it for about 3 decades. Okay. So she worked for a big personality. And right now she's helping women activate and lead with the same really dominion and legacy. She's also an ordained minister as well, but she really just speaks on leadership, women's empowerment, spiritual authority, legacy building. The thing about that, I always say God doesn't waste anything, of her being a director of operations for that organization's Don King organization. She knows how to really help people get their things together. She really does. And she does it in the utmost pristine way, like really seeing people and she's just a great speaker, but really helping people step into their power. And that's why she calls it the lioness. It's really like the women are powerful. So I love Dr. Colette. And again, she's just getting started. She said she had a big birthday coming up this year. I don't say which one it is, but she's got a big birthday coming up and she is really ready for it. Okay. And she is just getting started. And then the next one is another Speak Sell Shine graduate is Omar. I think you may know Omar, but I think he came from the pharmaceutical world as well. But he has a couple books. This one is Grow with Whom, but he had another book called Hire the Right Whom. And the Whom's is really talks about the work ethic, heart, optimism, and maturity. That's what that talks about character. So he does a lot of team training for organizations as well. And for those who want to be a part of Speak Sell Shine for this year, it's in October 5th and 6th. You can go to speaksaleshine.com. I think if you hover over that, you'll see like the highlight reel over the last one. Mona, if you kind of hover over that, over the Speak Sell Shine, the last page. Yeah. Oh, I meant the black page, but that's okay. Yeah, if you hover over that and tap that one, tap the video for that one, and you'll see like the reel from last year. We had the Top Speakers Awards going on. It doesn't, if you click on it, yeah, you'll actually see the video of that. No, maybe it's because we're in the mode here on the StreamYard mode, but it is in there. If you go to speakersmagazine.com, you'll actually click on the online version and you'll see all the videos that are in there and the videos of everyone. So this Dr. Colette's speaker reel is in there. Marie Perriman's videos are in there. And then the last one, for those that are want to be a part of the Juneteenth legacy, our cover girl for the month of June, JJ, is actually looking for speakers for her Juneteenth legacy, virtual or in person. It's going to be in Tulsa in person, but if you want to do a Juneteenth legacy and apply to be a speaker, and basically it's she's talking about empowerment, obviously for African Americans. It's an economic summit. George Fraser is one of the keynote speakers. Wow. And actually George Fraser, I love George Fraser. He's actually going to be doing a event with me on May 25th of this month, of this year, 6-year anniversary of the tragic murder of George Floyd. But we're going to be talking about what that means now. And George is going to be on there with Troy James as well, talking about the whole climate of what's going on right now since 6 years. Because remember, in 2020, obviously, Celeste, people were marching in the streets.
Yep.
Not just in the US, not just in Minneapolis, not just in Houston, around the world during COVID. And I was marching myself as well. So we're going to talk. Yeah. I was marching with a mask on. That was so crazy. I was like, I'm marching with the mask. I'm outside. But I was like, but it is COVID. So we go double up. We go double up. So that's going to be happening on May 25th this year. But Juneteenth legacy, if you want to be applied to be a speaker, JJ is accepting speaker proposals for that as well. And you can pre-record it, and then it'll be part of her Juneteenth legacy. She does it every year. I think this is the 8th one. Okay, I started to say the 5th, but yes, the 8th annual one. So she does really, really good every year with that. So that is it. We are right at good time. I want people to go to find out more about you, that they go to crwdiversity.com, and actually find out more about Celeste as well, and the good work that she's doing. And she's just getting started, like with all of the things. And we're going to be talking about her book as well on the 20th as well. So we want to make sure that you tune in for that and get the book ahead of time so you can kind of like read along with that. Yeah. And follow her on LinkedIn. She had 15,000 a while ago. She probably got about 30,000 now.
Yeah, 20 over 25. I hit the 25.
So, it's one of those things too where I don't really look at the numbers, and it was I was like, oh, that is a big number. And the favorite platforms that I enjoy, obviously LinkedIn is number one. But what are the other platforms that you enjoy as well as your thought leadership or videos or things like that? Do you enjoy YouTube?
So I like Instagram, because I get a little bit more intimate on Instagram. There's a lot more of my videos and vignettes of my thoughts. So that's CRW Diversity is the Instagram, and then YouTube as well. I'm in the process of revamping the YouTube channel. Good. And I put a lot of the things, I'm going to link some things there. So I'm on a lot of podcasts. And so I want to try to get all of the podcasts that I've been on, over the last 9 months
in a playlist. Yeah, put them in a playlist so that you can do that. And, like previous interviews of Celeste, that sort of thing. That is really important. For those speakers, if you don't have a robust YouTube channel, please get a robust YouTube channel. It's a natural for Celeste because she was majored in TV and broadcasting in college, and so she loves video. But anyone, if you are a speaker, please create your own YouTube channel and have that one featured video usually I say your speaker reel or something like that, have that one feature video, and then create playlists. Playlists are your podcasts, your shorts, previous videos from other channels. It can be, and you can also in YouTube create posts. So if you really like to write and have like little graphics, you can actually do posts in YouTube like a blog. And that is something that attracts people to your channel as well. Shorts and those posts where you put a post in YouTube as well. So a lot of times people don't know that they can actually write their own little mini blog posts in their YouTube channel to really link it to a video. So that kind of works as well. So there's so much. We live in such a amazing time right now with technology. I love it. I love it. So just one of the things is that video is the reason why video is so important, because people can hear your voice. I like live. You build trust with people. This is not rehearsed. We didn't memorize any script. Even if we have technology bumps, that's part of it as well. Just how we roll with it and rock with it. It's not a big deal. And so anyway, so if you are a speaker, please make sure that you're going live at least once a week. I would say at least once a week. That really helps build trust with people so that they can understand your heart and your passion. So if you have something to say, say it. Say it on video. Okay, say it on video. You can't always get to a stage, but you can always open up your phone.
That's it.
Or your desktop and do that. And my other favorite, Substack. I love Substack as well.
Yeah, I just got on Substack earlier this year.
Yeah. So that's my other favorite that I enjoy right now. Now it may change. A few years ago it was TikTok. Everything was TikTok. It slowed down a little bit for TikTok, but Substack is really good, and you can go live on Substack as well. So that's really it. So Celeste, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really good.
Well, thanks for the invitation, Pam.
Thank you. So we will see you soon at the next go around. The interview on the 20th, we'll be doing Amazon Live, and stay connected with her on LinkedIn and on Instagram. If you go to Speakers Magazine Instagram, you'll see the couple of videos that I have of Celeste over there as well. All righty. God bless you and take care. All righty. Thank you.